I'm Ann Burrell. Merry Christmas, home and family.
Thank you, Ann. You know, until recently, the suggested treatment for concussions has been rest. They said just rest and take care of yourself. But now there's a new study that shows actually physical activity can actually be more beneficial to recovery, namely in youth. So here to fill us in on all of this stuff is orthopedic surgeon Dr. Bert Mandelbaum. Welcome, Doctor. Good to have you back.
Good to be back.
This is near and dear to me. I played sports, and a lot of family members here also played sports. This is very... you know, I have a lot of friends that have gone through this process and suffered concussions. You've spent time with FIFA. You've spent time with Olympians. There's a lot of information that has come out about concussions. Why is this so important, this new study?
Well, it's so important because we are focused on the safety and health of our children as we become adults and we become athletes, whether it be soccer, lacrosse, football, wrestling. We want to minimize the number of concussions, and we want to have our rest of our lives be very healthy with minimal side effects.
Well, let's discuss what a concussion is medically, because we all know, okay, he or she fell down, hit their heads.
Yeah, be careful.
Football players hit their heads, whatever. You get concussions, and we know maybe it's some sort of brain injury. But medically, exactly what is it?
We call it TBI, traumatic brain injury, which ultimately, depending on the energy of injury through a jolt, a blow, a bump, creates this brain that exists in our skull, and it moves, it rocks, and then it creates this injury. The injury could be structural or it could be functional, and when that happens in the brain, we create these problems that we have, signs and symptoms that come as a consequence of that we need to deal with.
So is it like a bruise on your brain?
Yeah. Well, it's more than just the bruise, because the bruise is the structural part. But there's also a metabolic and actually a genetic component that comes as a consequence.
So we have some video. Can you kind of take us through what we're looking at? So this is a player, a couple of them are getting hit.
This is ball versus head, head versus ground.
Oh, gosh.
And football player versus head
Sure.
actions. There are the blows, there's the energy. And each of these are high energies, and the consequences to the brain, structurally, functionally, as you can see, that's a 95-mile-an-hour pitch going directly after the bat going into the head.
But this can happen in a car accident.
Yes.
A concussion could happen. Falling down or up steps could happen.
Yeah.
With the elderly, whatnot.
Exactly.
So really, the brain is surrounded by what, like a fluid, and that is supposed to be the sort of shock absorber in this case. But at some point, it's going to make a collision with the skull.
We weren't made for head injuries.
No,
by any means.
So what are the signs of it? I know it's the vomiting, right? You can have
Get
nauseous.
Well, the first thing is it's about losing consciousness. That's the first thing. And then sometimes you see, like you saw in the baseball players, a little bit of seizure. And then when they ultimately get up, they're what we call ataxic. They lose their coordination. They have a difficult time with their balance. They have headaches, neck aches, nausea, vomiting, loss of orientation, memory, their intelligence, their judgment, their attention span, all go. Those are the signs and symptoms that we see from these injuries.
So the study that has been conducted is adolescent specific. Why is it only focused on adolescents?
Well, this particular study that comes from Ottawa was done at an emergency room in Ottawa that followed 3,000 kids who were concussed. And they followed them up over a month, and they found that if they happened to exercise in that first 7 days, it used to be thought that it was all about resting. Rest is best. Then all of a sudden they followed them, they found that despite the recommendations by the doctors, at 30 days they had 50% less symptoms. And that's why this is a change in the paradigm in terms of how we medical professionals manage this overall.
Well,
would it help with adults too then, having said that?
Yeah. Well, that's what the study we're waiting for,
Yeah.
right?
That's going to be the next study, and we're looking at that because exercise itself, when you look about exercise as an intervention for all of us, it triggers a series of biological actions in our brain that makes it bigger, stronger, faster, that allows us to be survivors of the fittest.
Like what?
Like we get smarter, we have better orientation, we have better intelligence, we do better. Kids, when they follow them, have better scores in their IQ tests, on their math, they're verbal, they're orientated better, they have better attention spans. So exercise to the normal has such positive and profound effects on everybody.
Well, you have a new approach to, for treating this, And you also have a personal story we want to touch on, and we have family members that have a ton of questions.
Yes.
So we're going to step away. We're going to come back, hear some personal journey that you went on, and I know Matt, you've got a couple questions as well. So don't go away. We're going to be right back. More with Dr. Bert Mandelbaum.